Help my son." On a bustling street corner, a mother's voice, raw with desperation, echoed. She poured her heart into each note, performing to raise money for her sick son's treatment. Her child, wearily nestled in her arms, slept through it all. Unbeknownst to her, Snoop Dogg had pulled up in his pink Cadillac. Mesmerized by the song, he sat listening, his presence on the verge of transforming everything. "Hey everyone, welcome to Worldly Whispers. Let's get started." Amanda Taylor's life took a tragic turn when she received the shattering diagnosis for her 3-year-old son, Liam. In the sterile, brightly lit consultation room of the Children's Hospital, she sat across from Dr. Evelyn Carter, a seasoned pediatric oncologist with kind eyes that now held a somber expression. The room, decorated with colorful animal decals on its white walls, seemed to mock the gravity of the situation. Dr. Carter began to speak, her voice carrying a blend of professional authority and deep compassion. "Amanda, I'm afraid the results of Liam's latest tests confirm our worst fears. He has stage 4 neuroblastoma." Amanda's grip on Liam, who was playing quietly with his teddy bear on her lap, tightened involuntarily. Her heart raced as she tried to process the words. "Stage 4?" she repeated, her voice barely a whisper. Dr. Carter nodded solemnly and continued, explaining that the cancer had spread from Liam's adrenal gland to parts of his left kidney. She held up a scan, pointing to the areas where the disease had advanced, but to Amanda's untrained eye, it was a confusing jumble of black and white shapes. When Amanda asked what this meant for Liam's future, Dr. Carter was honest. Without aggressive intervention, including surgery to remove the cancerous cells from his adrenal gland and immunotherapy to boost his body's defenses against the disease, Liam might only have 6 months, possibly up to a year at best. The words hit Amanda like a physical blow. She pulled Liam closer, as if she could shield him from the harsh reality. Liam, sensing his mother's distress, looked up at her with wide, innocent eyes and said, "Mama?" Amanda forced a smile and stroked his bald head, murmuring, "It's okay, sweetie," though she felt anything but okay. Dr. Carter then mentioned that with proper treatment, many children achieved remission or prolonged survival. However, Amanda's face fell as she explained their financial situation. Their insurance only covered basic chemotherapy, consultations, and diagnostic tests. The cost of the recommended surgery and immunotherapy was far beyond their reach. As a single mother, working multiple jobs just to keep a roof over their heads, Amanda felt overwhelmed by the financial burden. Dr. Carter expressed her understanding and promised to explore every option available while continuing with the basic chemotherapy to give Liam the best chance possible. After the consultation, Amanda made her way to the billing counter. The clerk informed her that the total for that day's consultation, imaging, and chemotherapy session was $500. Amanda's heart sank as she handed over her insurance card, praying that there would be no issues. To her relief, the insurance covered the cost, but she knew this was just a small part of the overall expense. She then walked out of the hospital with Liam and headed to their old rust-spotted van. As she secured Liam in his car seat, which was a salvaged second, hand one with a broken seat belt that she had to use a makeshift strap to compensate for, she felt a wave of maternal guilt. She knew the seat wasn't ideal, but it was the best she could manage given their circumstances. Driving through the city streets, Amanda's mind was filled with worry and determination. She thought about the money she had managed to save from her street performances, but it was a tiny fraction of what they needed. She made her way to her usual performance spot, a moderately busy shopping street. She set up her equipment, which consisted of a worn microphone, a small, battered speaker, and a cardboard sign that read, "Help my son." Usually, she would have multiple signs showing Liam's journey, but they had been damaged by rain, and she hadn't had the time to replace them. As she began to sing, some passers-by stopped to listen. Their expressions ranged from curiosity to sympathy. Some dropped coins or bills into her collection box, while others walked by without a second glance. After singing for a while, she took a break to check on Liam. He was waking up from a nap, and she fed him a simple sandwich from his lunchbox. Looking at the plain meal, she felt guilty and promised herself to buy him something more nutritious later. She counted the day's earnings and found that she had made $43, a meager amount in the face of Liam's massive medical needs. But she was determined to keep singing, as every donation, no matter how small, was a step towards saving her son's life. Amanda took a deep breath and resumed her performance, pouring her heart and soul into each note. This time, she chose to sing Clouds by Zach Sobich, a song that held a special resonance with her current situation. Her voice, filled with both hope and desperation, carried across the busy street, touching the hearts of those who listened. As she sang, a pink Cadillac slowly approached. The car's driver, none other than Snoop Dogg, was immediately drawn to Amanda's powerful performance. He pulled over to the side of the road, rolled down the window, and listened intently. The lyrics of the song, which spoke of love, loss, and hope, seemed to strike a chord with him, and he was visibly moved. When Amanda finished the song, there was a moment of hushed silence, followed by applause from the small crowd that had gathered. She was about to thank the audience when she noticed the pink Cadillac. The driver's door opened and Snoop Dogg stepped out. Amanda's eyes widened in shock as she recognized the famous rapper. Snoop Dogg removed his sunglasses, revealing eyes that glistened with unshed tears. "That was beautiful," he said, his voice low and filled with emotion. "That song, it means a lot to me. Reminds me of a close friend I lost to cancer." Amanda nodded, still too stunned to speak. Snoop Dogg's gaze then shifted to Liam, who was looking out of the van window with curious eyes. Sensing the boy's frailty and the signs of chemotherapy, Snoop Dogg's expression softened. "Your son?" he asked gently. Amanda found her voice and replied, "Yes, this is Liam." Just as Snoop Dogg was about to engage in a deeper conversation with Amanda, a sudden commotion interrupted them. A woman named Jasmine pushed her way through the onlookers, her face contorted with anger and disgust. "Hey, you need to stop faking your son's illness to gain sympathy," she shouted, pointing an accusing finger at Amanda. "Let him grow some hair, and we'll all know he's fine and healthy. And your voice isn't that good either. You're just obstructing the walkway." The cruel words echoed through the air, drawing uncomfortable glances from the passers-by. Amanda felt her cheeks burn with a mix of anger and shame. She opened her mouth to defend herself, but the words caught in her throat. Snoop Dogg, however, was quick to react. His usually laid-back demeanor hardened, and his eyes narrowed as he stepped towards Jasmine. "Excuse me," he said, his voice carrying a hint of steel beneath its smoothness. "But do you have any idea what you're talking about?" Jasmine, realizing that it was Snoop Dogg addressing her, faltered for a moment, but then regained her bravado. "I'm Jasmine," she said, her tone switching from aggressive to fawning. "Oh my God, can I get a picture with you?" Snoop Dogg's expression remained stern. "Your name sounds like a singer's name," he said coolly. "If you could sing better than her and apologize for being cruel and judgmental, then I'll consider taking a picture with you." Jasmine looked taken aback. I can't sing. I never learned," she stammered. "But my voice would definitely sound better if you would take and train me." Snoop Dogg's annoyance was palpable. "You know," he said, his voice low and serious, "people who are proud and cruel are not my fans, and I do not support your judgmental behavior toward Amanda." He turned to Amanda and asked, "That is your name, right?" Amanda nodded, still holding Liam close. "Yes, Amanda," she confirmed softly. Snoop Dogg turned back to Jasmine. "I think Amanda has an amazing voice and real talent. I want to support her." Jasmine's face fell, realizing she had severely misjudged the situation. Without another word, she turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. As the tension of the moment began to dissipate, Snoop Dogg turned back to Amanda, his expression softening once again. "I'm sorry about that," he said genuinely. "Some people just don't understand." Amanda, still reeling from the confrontation and Snoop Dogg's unexpected defense, managed a small smile. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You really didn't have to do that. I've encountered people like her every day on the streets for months." Snoop Dogg shook his head. "No, I did have to do that. Nobody deserves to be treated that way, especially not when they're already going through so much." He paused, his gaze moving between Amanda and Liam. "Listen, I'd really like to hear your story, if you're willing to share it." Amanda hesitated for a moment, then nodded. She had been carrying the weight of their struggle alone for so long. Maybe it was time to open up, to let someone else understand their fight. And so, with Liam still in her arms and Snoop Dogg listening intently, Amanda began to tell their story. She recounted the day they received Liam's diagnosis, the long months of worry and stress, and the financial burden that had been crushing them. Snoop Dogg listened attentively, his brow furrowed in concern, as Amanda poured out her heart. As Amanda finished sharing her heart-wrenching story, Snoop Dogg listened intently, his expression a mix of sympathy and determination. After a moment of thoughtful silence, he suddenly perked up, his eyes lighting up with an idea. "Amanda," he said, his voice filled with enthusiasm, I've got a plan that I think could really make a difference for you and Liam." He explained that he saw not only a mother in desperate need, but also a hidden musical talent in Amanda. He believed that with the right platform, her voice could reach a much wider audience, and in turn, raise the funds necessary for Liam's treatment. "I'm thinking we set up a live stream concert right here, on this very street," he proposed. "People from all over the world can tune in, hear your story, and contribute to Liam's cause." Amanda was taken aback by the bold idea. It seemed almost too good to be true. "But how?" she stammered. "I don't have any of the proper equipment, and I've never done anything like this before." Snoop Dogg grinned, unfazed by her concerns. "Leave that to me," he assured her. "I know a production store nearby. We'll get all the gear we need and set up a proper stage in no time." With that, he immediately pulled out his phone and made a flurry of calls. In a short while, a van filled with professional sound equipment, speakers, microphones, and even stage lights arrived on the scene. Snoop Dogg's security team and a group of production crew members hopped out and got to work right away. They efficiently unloaded the equipment and began setting up the impromptu stage on the sidewalk. As the crew worked, Snoop Dogg turned to Amanda and gave her a reassuring smile. "Are you ready for this?" he asked. Amanda took a deep breath, her heart pounding with a mix of nervousness and excitement. She glanced over at the van where Liam was still playing, seemingly oblivious to the commotion around him. "I'm ready," she replied, her voice firm with newfound determination. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood about the unexpected event. A small crowd began to gather, drawn by the sight of the celebrity and the activity on the street. Snoop Dogg's security team managed the growing crowd, keeping them at a safe distance while the production crew made the final adjustments to the stage. Finally, everything was set. Snoop Dogg took out his phone and started the live stream. He addressed the audience, both those present on the street and the thousands who were tuning in online. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, his voice booming, "we're about to witness something truly special. This is Amanda, a remarkable mother with an incredible voice. But more importantly, she's on a mission to save her son, Liam, who is bravely battling cancer. Let's give her our full support." Amanda stepped up to the microphone, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The professional equipment was a far cry from her usual setup, and the larger than usual audience made her a bit nervous. But as she looked out at the faces of the people gathered around and thought about Liam in the van, she found the strength to begin. She launched into her first song, her voice clear and powerful. The amplified sound filled the street, and the crowd fell silent, captivated by her performance. Between songs, Amanda shared their story in more detail. She spoke about Liam's diagnosis, the difficult journey they had been on, and the financial challenges that had been holding them back. Her words were heartfelt, and many in the audience, both on site and online, were moved to tears. As the concert continued, the donations started pouring in. People in the crowd dropped money into the collection box, while those watching online found ways to contribute through the live stream platform. Snoop Dogg monitored the donations and the comments on his phone, constantly encouraging the audience to give more and share the story. "Let's make a difference for this little boy," he urged. The energy in the air was electric. The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the street, but the excitement showed no signs of waning. Amanda sang song after song, pouring her heart and soul into each performance. The crowd grew larger as more people were drawn to the scene by the music and the story. Cars passing by slowed down, and some drivers even parked and joined the audience. Amanda felt a sense of hope she hadn't felt in a long time. For the first time in months, she dared to believe that there was a real chance to save Liam. And it was all thanks to the kindness and creativity of Snoop Dogg, who had turned a desperate situation into a beacon of hope. The impromptu concert was in full swing, with Amanda's voice soaring through the air and the crowd thoroughly engrossed. As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting long shadows across the street, the atmosphere was electric. However, this moment of hope and celebration was about to be interrupted. Two police officers, making their way through the growing throng, approached the stage. Their presence immediately caught the attention of Snoop Dogg, who stepped forward to intercept them. "Good evening, officers," Snoop Dogg said, his tone respectful yet firm. "Is there a problem?" The taller of the two officers, a middle-aged man with salt and pepper hair, replied, "We've received complaints about the noise and the large crowd. I'm afraid we're going to have to ask you to disperse." Snoop Dogg nodded in understanding. "Of course, officer. We didn't mean to cause any trouble." We're just trying to help this mother and her sick son." He gestured towards Amanda, who was standing nervously by the microphone, her eyes wide with concern. The officer's gaze softened as he looked at Amanda, and then at the van where Liam was visible through the window. "I see," he said. "Well, we appreciate what you're trying to do here, but we still need to clear the area for safety reasons." Snoop Dogg quickly agreed. "Absolutely, we'll wrap it up right away. Thank you for your patience." As the officers stepped back, Snoop Dogg turned to the crowd. "All right, everyone," he announced. "We've got to call it a night. Thank you all for your incredible support. Please remember Amanda and Liam in your thoughts and prayers." The crowd, though disappointed, began to disperse. Many stopped to drop final donations into the overflowing collection box before leaving. The production crew started breaking down the equipment, packing it back into the van. Amanda stood in the middle of the chaos, feeling a mix of emotions. On one hand, she was grateful for the outpouring of support during the concert. On the other, she was worried about what would happen next. Snoop Dogg approached her with a warm smile. "You were amazing out there," he said. "How are you feeling?" Amanda shook her head, still in a bit of a daze. I don't even know. This is all so overwhelming." "Thank you so much, Snoop Dogg." Snoop Dogg nodded and then said, "Listen, it's getting late. How about I give you and Liam a ride home? We can talk more about what comes next." Amanda hesitated. "That's very kind of you, but I have my own car." She gestured towards her old van. Snoop Dogg looked at the van, and then back at Amanda. "I understand, but if you don't mind, my security guard can drive your car and follow us. I want to show you something." Amanda considered his offer for a moment. The events of the day had been so extraordinary that this additional kindness seemed almost too much to accept. But looking at Snoop Dogg's sincere expression, she found herself nodding. "Okay," she agreed, "but I'll need Liam's car seat." Snoop Dogg grinned. "No problem at all." As his security team carefully transferred Liam's car seat to the Cadillac's back seat, Amanda gathered her belongings. She hesitated for a moment before handing over her van keys to one of Snoop Dogg's guards, a twinge of worry about entrusting her only vehicle to a stranger. "Don't worry," Snoop Dogg reassured her, noticing her hesitation. "My team is completely trustworthy. Your van is in good hands." Amanda climbed into the passenger seat of Snoop Dogg's pink Cadillac. She watched as Snoop Dogg gently lifted the still, sleeping Liam and secured him in the car seat. As they drove off, Snoop Dogg handed his phone to Amanda. "Take a look," he said. "I recorded the live stream." Amanda scrolled through the video, her eyes widening in amazement. The comments were flooding in from all over the world. People were expressing their support, asking how they could donate, and sharing the story with their friends. I don't know what to say," she finally managed, handing the phone back to Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg smiled. "It's a lot to take in, I know. But this is just the beginning. We're going to make sure Liam gets the treatment he needs." As they drove through the city streets, Snoop Dogg opened up about his own background. He shared stories of growing up in poverty, selling candy, delivering newspapers, and bagging groceries just to survive. His candid revelations made Amanda feel more at ease, bridging the gap between their seemingly different worlds. Finally, they arrived at Amanda's small, dilapidated house. The security guard in the van parked behind them. Amanda felt a twinge of embarrassment as she looked at her home. "I'm sorry about the conditions," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Every spare penny goes to Liam's care and our basic necessities." Snoop Dogg placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Amanda, you have nothing to apologize for. You're doing everything you can for your son, and that's what matters." With Liam now awake and in Amanda's arms, they made their way to the front door. As Amanda fumbled with her keys, Snoop Dogg waited patiently. Once inside, Snoop Dogg looked around the sparsely furnished living room. The worn-out couch and the small coffee table were the only notable pieces of furniture. The walls showed signs of peeling paint and water damage. Amanda set Liam down, and the little boy immediately toddled over to a corner where his toys were. Snoop Dogg turned to Amanda. "Listen, Amanda, I want to help you and Liam in a more substantial way. I run a private charity through my music label, and we focus on helping children with medical issues like Liam. I'd like to cover all of Liam's remaining treatment costs." Amanda's eyes widened in shock. But that's too much. I can't accept such a huge handout." Snoop Dogg shook his head. "It's not a handout. It's an investment in Liam's future and in your talent. I heard you sing today, and you have something special. With the right support, You could have a real career in music." Amanda stood there, stunned, her mind racing with possibilities and doubts. Before she could respond, Snoop Dogg continued, "Liam needs urgent medical care, and while your music career can eventually help with the costs, right now he needs immediate treatment. Let me help you give him the best chance possible." Amanda stood frozen, her mind struggling to process Snoop Dogg's generous offer. The weight of his words hung in the air, a glimmer of hope in the otherwise dark tunnel of their lives. Liam, unaware of the momentous conversation, continued to play with his toys, his soft laughter filling the room. Are you sure?" Amanda finally managed to stutter, her voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and gratitude. "This is a huge commitment, Snoop Dogg. I don't know how to repay you." Snoop Dogg smiled warmly, his eyes filled with sincerity. "Amanda, this isn't about repayment. It's about giving Liam a fighting chance at life. You've been through so much on your own, and now it's time for someone to step in and help. And trust me, I've seen the impact we can make when we come together." He walked over to the small couch and sat down, gesturing for Amanda to join him. "I've built my charity to make a difference in the lives of kids like Liam. I know firsthand how a little support can turn things around. And I also see the potential in you, Amanda. Your talent is something special, and with the right guidance, you could go far in the music industry." Amanda sat down next to him, still in a state of shock. "I've always loved singing," she admitted, "but I never thought it could be more than just a way to pass the time or try to raise money for Liam. I mean, look at me. I'm just a single mom struggling to make ends meet." Snoop Dogg shook his head. "Don't sell yourself short, Amanda. Your voice has the power to touch people's hearts, and that's a gift. And once Liam is on the road to recovery, we can focus on developing your talent. I have connections in the music business, and I'm more than happy to introduce you to the right people." As they talked, Amanda's initial hesitation began to fade. The idea of Liam getting the treatment he so desperately needed was too good to be true, but Snoop Dogg's sincerity was undeniable. She thought about the long months of worry and stress, the countless nights she had spent praying for a miracle. And now, here it was, in the form of this unexpected but incredibly kind offer. Suddenly, Amanda remembered the call they needed to make. "We should call Dr. Evelyn," she said, jumping up from the couch. "We need to tell her the good news and see when we can start Liam's treatment." Snoop Dogg nodded in agreement. "You're right. Let's not waste any time." Amanda fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking with excitement. She dialed the hospital's number and asked to speak with Dr. Evelyn Carter. After a short wait, the doctor's familiar voice came on the line. "Dr. Evelyn, it's Amanda Taylor," Amanda said, her voice filled with joy. "I have some amazing news. We found a way to cover all of Liam's treatment costs." There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end of the line. "Amanda, that's incredible," Dr. Carter exclaimed. "I'm so happy for you and Liam. May I ask what happened?" Amanda quickly explained about Snoop Dogg's appearance, the impromptu concert, and his generous offer. Dr. Carter listened intently, her voice filled with relief and gratitude. "I can't tell you how much this means," Dr. Carter said. "Liam's condition is serious, and every day counts. We can start the pre-surgery assessments right away. Can you bring him to the hospital tomorrow morning?" Amanda looked at Snoop Dogg, who nodded encouragingly. "Yes, we'll be there," she replied. "Thank you so much, Dr. Carter." After hanging up the phone, Amanda turned to Snoop Dogg, tears of joy streaming down her face. "This is really happening," she said. "Liam is going to get the treatment he needs." Snoop Dogg stood up and gave her a hug. "Yes, he is. And this is just the beginning. We're going to get Liam healthy, and then we'll focus on your music career. You have a bright future ahead of you, Amanda." The next morning, Amanda and Snoop Dogg arrived at the hospital with Liam. The atmosphere in the waiting room was a far cry from their previous visits. Instead of the heavy cloud of worry and despair, there was a sense of hope and anticipation. Dr. Carter greeted them with a big smile. "I'm so glad to see you all," she said. "We've already started preparing for Liam's pre-surgery assessments. Let's get started." Over the next few days, Liam underwent a series of tests and procedures. Amanda and Snoop Dogg were by his side every step of the way, offering comfort and support. The hospital staff was amazed by the transformation in Amanda's demeanor. Gone was the exhausted and defeated mother they had seen before. In her place was a woman filled with hope and determination. As the days turned into weeks, Liam's condition began to improve. The doctors were pleased with his progress, and Amanda's spirits soared. She knew that they still had a long road ahead, but for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to dream of a future where Liam was healthy and happy. And as she watched Liam playing in his hospital bed, a new sense of purpose filled her heart. She was not only a mother fighting for her son's life, but also an artist with a chance to share her gift with the world. Thanks to Snoop Dogg's kindness and generosity, Amanda and Liam were on the verge of a new beginning, one filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. In the coming months, as Liam continued to recover, Amanda started taking music lessons. Snoop Dogg introduced her to some of the best vocal coaches in the industry, and she began to hone her skills. With each passing day, her confidence grew, and she could feel herself getting closer to realizing her dream. And through it all, Amanda never forgot the kindness of the strangers who had come together to help them. The people who had stopped to listen to her on the street, the ones who had donated money, and of course, Snoop Dogg. Their support had not only saved Liam's life, but had also given Amanda a new lease on life. As she looked forward to the future, she knew that she would always be grateful for the day Snoop Dogg had stepped into their lives and changed everything.
If this story touched you, show your support by liking and subscribing. Your encouragement helps us keep sharing memorable stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.